serious phase after the Lifestealer ban.
I mean, can you make the argument that the Stone Gaze is really good against Lifestealer?
It is, but he's still fairly good against heroes like Centaur, Ogre, Magi in general. Sure, the Centaur ulti is always good against so many heroes, but it would be decent just for Storm Spirit to jump in and drop someone off, because alone Storm is not going to bring down Dusa. And we'll see what they want to go for. I mean, AM would be an amazing hero, but smart ban out from Jerax in previous phase as well. So they have a few heroes they could be thinking about.
Yeah,
could still just go into Void, I mean.
Even I think taking Viper at this point is still okay. Like, you have a hero who does very well against Storm. Like, Treant Armor is not really that good against Viper. You're not going to get roamed on. Well, you could, I guess, but it's not going to be, I don't think, that scary for you. Especially if you pick a hero with decent range.
Oh yeah, I think 4ASC very happily will pick up a Viper in this scenario.
I'd like to see something with a kind of a long stun range, because I could see a scenario where you're trying to engage on Team Tinker, Overgrowth comes out, and Witch Doctor stands very far back with the Death Ward. Suddenly you don't really have a good way to cancel or do anything about that Death Ward. And yeah, so although I haven't seen Vaalix play too much of anything else, so it is going to be a Viper.
Yeah, I mean, Vaalix plays it beautifully. He has had more than enough time practicing this hero as well.
Sure, yeah.
So over on Team Tinkerino, do you think something along the lines of Void, or what are you thinking of here? Because you need a right clicker of some sort.
I don't know, I actually quite like 4ASC's draft. I feel like the Storm is not going to really be able to kill anyone on his own. I don't know if they were banking on the Lifestealer per se, but
maybe they were. It looks more and more like it.
I mean, they could still go with something that does a decent amount of AoE damage, like Gyro, I guess. Synergizes pretty well.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
The snap call.
I mean, it's really the only hero that I think has enough of a early mid-game influence to really make the pick worth it, because I think going super late against a Medusa, a Viper, and a Centaur is just... You're using a single core, basically, to go super late, because the Storm probably is never going to get Viper ultied, so you're going to have to use it on the other hero, right? So it's like, we need a hero that does something a little bit sooner.
Do you guys feel that in Storm games, there's like two scenarios? There's a one scenario where Storm gets in early, or goes around, pick off a ton of support, and it's like the most dominating hero. And then there's another scenario where Storm is like just an initiator, and it doesn't do nearly enough damage to justify him with the goal that he's been farming with the mid-position Storm. Or do you feel like there's somewhere in between?
I think there's somewhere in between as well, because as you said, sometimes you don't finish your Orchid very quickly, like G, for example, in his game on Storm. He didn't have it that quickly, but then suddenly he just killed everyone.
Sure.
He had some help in form of Slark as well, but he did deal tons of damage on his own. And I agree with this Gyro pick a lot more than I would have with Void. It works better, I believe.
All right, it's time to introduce these players, because this could be the elimination match for one of these teams. On the Radiant side, we have Jerax playing his famed Rubik, MATUMBAMAN playing the Medusa. We have Buugi on the Ogre Magi. Back in the mid lane is going to be Vaalix playing the Viper, a hero that he's very known for. And then finally Trixi playing the off-lane Centaur.
Yeah, and then on the side of Team Tinker, we're going to have EGM playing on that tree. Going to have Pycat taking up the reins on Gyrocopter, Sing playing the Tidehunter, Koikfa on Storm, and that leaves Bulba going to be playing Witch Doctor.
All right, so Koikfa doesn't even have any tango pulled onto him right now. I imagine one of his supports will pass it to him. There you go. And going for the very, very quick bottle rush. We'll need the regen against a Viper mid.
I mean, Viper is going to win that lane no matter what.
I mean, there's also living armor. That will help out a little bit, I guess.
I mean, once you get to, I think it's maybe it's level 2 point.
Oh!
EGM, not going to go on the cliff.
Did he not even try for that, or?
I think you have to be, like,
Closer.
in a really close spot. Like, you have to be hugging that hill super hard. I think he's pinging it out saying, I don't believe that I'm actually not stuck up there, because it really looked like he was going to get that. Yeah,
I think he could have as well. It kind of depends where you click it as well. I didn't see the direction that he clicked.
Yeah.
Either way, EGM going to find himself a bounty rune instead of being stuck on that hill. Sing Sing getting a little bit of a haste on top as well. It's going to be a one-on-one between Tide and Centaur, so not the most eventful lane. And I believe mid, if Storm plays well in the early game, like on the first, I would say 4 creep waves.
Well, he just missed the block.
He can do fairly well.
Although it's actually in the tower range.
He missed it hard enough though.
Yeah. recovered. I'm also somewhat worried about Tinker's offensive trialing here. In the past, when they've ran offensive trialing, remember today's game where they ran offensive trialing with Luna? They did well in the laning stage, but they had a lot of trouble transitioning out of it. So that's kind of my point this game. Can Tinker win the lane, and will their support be able to do a lot elsewhere after the laning stage?
I think it's a bit different though. Like the contrast between what they were playing against and what heroes they actually have this game. For example, I think they had Panda in the game where they were doing really well during the early game.
Yes.
And Panda kind of, if you waste his ulti, it hurts so much more, but Tidehunter still remains relevant, I think, even into the ultra late game because of things like double Ravage and the fact that honestly, 4ASC is probably only ever going to buy one BKB, and that's going to be on Viper, right?
Yeah.
So I think the Tidehunter is going to have a relevancy for an extremely long time. Plus, you can see how passive 4SC are playing this. They know that they really can't even farm on a hero like Medusa in this lane because of the kind of pressure that Team Tinker can put out.
Yeah,
I mean, they have a Rubik as a secondary support.
Yeah, Treant and Witch Doctor are also really, really strong at just, you know, zoning the enemy here. Even if it's pretty defensive so far, you can see how 4ASC don't want to walk up and contest here. So if they could just get the lane back a little bit, Team Tinkerino would be in a great spot.
They are harassing well though, but the CS differential has not really picked up yet.
Yeah, but
both Dusa and Gyro is not farming
Team
well.
Tinker are
just missed 3 CS, that's why.
Yeah.
So.
Team Tinker are doing fairly well on the off lane, but they're also doing really well on top lane. Sing Sing is doing so great against this Centaur with his Tidehunter. He's getting more CS. He has a lot of creeps to farm up under his tower here as well. So 4-1 against 9-4 right now.
I wonder if Sing Sing's going to go for that 3 Kraken 2 Anchor build that he loves so much.
3 Kraken?
Yeah, he does go 3 Kraken 2 Anchor, which...
I don't think there's any point getting a third point into it, really.
Oh, the cat's going to fly on the bottom lane. It is going to bounce. The shield's going to go up here on MATUMBAMAN.
Nice
He'll walk
blocks.
away. Perfectly done. It's a double damage tree. And in fact, they're going to pull him back to the tower, eat a little bit tower shot. Won't die thanks to living armor, but kind of a good exchange of harass going with the other way.
Buugi actually saved MATUMBAMAN really hard right there. If he hadn't body blocked like 2 punches, then that would have been a dead Medusa.
Yeah, good awareness by Buugi. He also had roots, which allowed him to really go in and do that little play. So nice execution by the Finn. But Team Tinkerino's still in a good spot of kind of asserting control of the lane. Yeah. Never mind the fact that they have 8-0 against 4-4 last hits, because that's a fine result for Team Tinker, right?
Yeah.
Both of them not farming at all is good.
You talked about how Tide is winning top. Storm is, I want to say, winning mid. I mean, the CS looks very similar, but as a Storm, if you could keep up CS against a Viper, you're doing just fine.
Yeah, I'm really surprised actually that he's still going the max corrosive build, because in this lane, when you know that there's no way that Team Tinker are going to try to roam right now. And if they do, it's going to be crazy obvious. So I'm really surprised he hasn't opted to go for like more Nether Toxin or more Poison Attack. Just have better lane presence so you can sufficiently bully the Storm. Because right now, I think Quakefa is just outplaying him.
I think it's still fine though, because Quakefa is very aggressive. He keeps clicking the Viper all the time, giving value to the corrosive. So I think it's okay, this build. And it does, you know, mean that no matter what, you are going to be ready when the early game is over. Like 10 minutes in, you will have the proper skill build and whatnot when you want to walk with your team. Also want to point out how hard it is to deward the Radiant full camp.
Getting caught here. There's no tree in the bottom lane. He's got a tree armor, walking it off. He's going to go down though. Jerax getting the first blood. They want a second kill. Buugi does not have mana, but he does have boost. He's getting the huge body blocks on a Bulba. A couple more auto attacks.
Oh, he had a blast.
I think he just got mana for the blast.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, TP's going to come in right now. Here comes the Leech Seed. They want to keep going here. MATUMBAMAN going to turn around. He loses all his mana, so no more mana shield. Does he have a magic stick? I'm not too sure. The cast will bounce as well. He's going to just straight up walk away. Is there enough damage? A Rocket Barrage going to come through MATUMBAMAN. It's going to drop barely, though. That was quite close.
Yeah, aggression just bursting out on this bottom lane all of a sudden, instead of playing defensive. So this is still pretty fine for 4ASC. They got the first blood, and they're going to force 2 supports to back off now as well, as they were too low after trading there. But yeah, a huge part in the offlane here from Team Tinker is the fact that there is no pull for the Finns.
I think honestly the biggest story is just how badly top lane is going for 4ASC.
Yeah.
I mean, Trixi is getting absolutely destroyed right now. He has 9 CS.
Yeah, what Webbus is showing us right now is the fact that if you put the most obvious new board in these pro games, they're expecting something different. So that does not get rewarded, unfortunately, for
crazy how close that is to being inside the vision.
Yeah.
Yeah, top lane is a mega win for Team Tinker, and nice to see Sing Sing really, you know, play a strong and solid laning game. He has had a little bit of a trouble in phase 2 and some other games as well to really shine, but he's crushing Trixi right now.
I mean, it's rare these days that he actually gets a lane that's to his advantage. Like normally he's, you know, Brewmaster off lane against the tri lane. You don't win that lane. So I think Sing Sing mechanically has still be the same Sing Sing as we saw him in Cloud9 last year. It's just he doesn't get the opportunity to show that he can win the lanes.
Yeah, he has been sacrificed quite a lot in terms of laning.
Hello, rotation from the supports to fight over a rune. Nothing special here. The only concern for Team Tinker is that as this laning stage is approaching to an end, your Witch Doctor and your Trine is somewhat underleveled. They're not getting too many kills. I don't think Buugi, Boogie's like, actually could have Fire Blast on the CD.
Yeah, a little bit of cooldown.
I mean, there's some serious concerns for 4ASC's laning phase, because 2 of their cores have half the CS of their respective cores that they're farming against. MATUMBAMAN has 11 CS, Pycat has 25, and Sing has 34 comparative to Trixi's 10.
Oh.
Like, this laning phase can't continue like this. It's giving
Jerax could be caught here as well. The 2 supports going at him.
He's got a lift still. They're going to pop a Centaur ulti there. They're going to try to turn it around. Pycat throwing out a Rocket Barrage. EGM going to eat 2 nukes here. Takes some damage. No kill, though, being had. Pycat just continuing to chase. He's got phase boots, but the mana shield and MATUMBAMAN will keep him alive.
MATUMBAMAN kind of walked into a full barrage, so he just lost a ton of health very quickly.
Well, I think if he didn't tank the damage, he would have lost somebody, right?
That's a really good exchange for Team Tinker, though, because they wasted the Centaur ult, and they did not lose any of their heroes.
Yep.
I mean, Centaur ulti is massive in a try versus try scenario, so they got out pretty okay there.
And going back to your point, Andy, I mean, Viper is farming okay for ASC, but Viper isn't the type of hero that could just be like, all right, I got a ton of farm, let me go around, kill everybody, and make my team come back.
Yeah.
You want to Storm or Queen of Pain for purposes like that. So I think 4ASC has to pull something magical out of the hat, because if they don't, they will really kind of let the Tidehunter spiral out of control. You lose a ton of towers, and you're going to be in a bad haul.
So, question. When you play Tidehunter and you farm this well against the Centaur, do you still reckon just a Blink Dagger and leave the lane as soon as possible is the build?
I think so, yeah. I mean, think of how hard it is for 4SC to stop an early Blink Tide push. Like, even though Team Tinker's tower pushing in general is not really that strong, like their damage output is lacking, you're going to have tree and armor, you're going to have good sustain, you're never really going to have to go back. You can just slow siege every single tier 1, kill it, go for Roshan, things like that. And their team fight around the pit is still really strong. Like, you're going to have Overgrowth, Call Down, and Ravage. Like, you're going to be able to control fights so easily, I think.
Yes.
I think there's an argument that if your other lanes are getting completely wrecked on and you're doing really well in your lane, there's an argument of getting a mech just to help your team. But in this particular case where you're doing all right, all the other lanes, yeah, get the blink.
Oh, here comes the Ravage.
The solo Ravage to jump in.
He goes for the stomp first, though he's not going to be able to get it off.
Oh,
he tosses
stomp! Easy run away. Can actually tricks. Okay, I thought maybe he could have stole something, but he's not even close to level 6 here. Toss back, just for a little bit more harass, but
I can't believe he lived.
No, a Ravage committed a Storm TP and he's completely out of mana.
Oikvak could have jumped there. He still had mana before the...
Yeah, but the animation in the stomp didn't go off. Because he got pulled and then like there was no animation and they still got stomped. I don't know if maybe I'm just seeing things, but I'm pretty sure that stomp did not animate.
Might be a long day of Dota as well.
Could be.
But that was a big rotation, not working out in their favor. He did get a rune though, so Storm is going to walk straight back to mid lane and keep farming. And I like the fact that they try for an attempt with...
He's actually going to go mech, the Tidehunter.
Yeah, seems like a mech.
Huh.
I mean, mech is still good. It's not like it's a significantly worse choice. Just like, if you have mech, you have even better sustain, right? So Treant Armor, Booty Restoration, mech on top of that, you can actually play super aggressive. And I guess for the purpose of like not going for picks, but just going for siege, having a mech is a little bit better if you don't really plan on tower diving too hard. Whereas the Blink Ravage is just for getting a pick and then pushing afterwards, right?
Yeah, and there's a lot of harass damage coming out from 4ASC when you're gonna push. There's the Fade Bolt, there's the Mystic Snake, there's the Ignite. Quite a lot of things that could deal damage to you guys, so nice for Team Tinker to have a mech up early and nice. Of course, one of the weaknesses of going aggressive tri-lane is you have a hard time finding any farm on your supports, so relieving them by getting a mech on a core hero is really nice.
Are you guys surprised at all for Pycat? He hasn't put any points into his rocket, which I imagine could actually secure himself 1 or 2 kills, allowing them to chase, you know, dive.
I mean, it is quite easy to kill a rocket. if you're in a tri-lane, right?
That is true. It looks like
MATUMBAMAN?
I think a misclick, and the
Hello?
team is fully aware of that. Team Tinker says, you know what? We could dive this.
Yeah, that's a strange misclick coming out.
Or maybe
right
it's a bait because there's a Rubik smoke behind.
I don't think it's gonna end up well though. There's a Storm walked all the way down here without anyone seeing him. They're hiding on the tower, so they definitely know.
There's that rocket, and
Yeah,
it hits his time.
They don't have
Fall
a
down's gonna
3-point.
come down, and that's gonna hit once a MATUMBAMAN. The second time would.
I think they need to back out because Viper is immediately TPing.
And the Stampede's gonna get used as well. The cast. Actually, Boba's gonna get hit. That's gonna be one kill. Pycat, it's gonna be the secondary kill as well. Well, actually, he has the Invis rune. No one actually find him. Now. They kind of know. All right.
All right, he's gonna go for the wand TP. Oh man,
and he'll be good.
He's actually out of there.
Yeah, the big play TP there, relying on getting away. There was no detection, so he could just have walked away as well, but he didn't have time to check. Better to just TP out.
So casual Ring of Regen and then back to the Blink. I think he changed his mind.
Yeah, he could have. He could also just say, you know, maybe I go mech, and if I don't, I can still just go back with 4-staff with the Ring of Regen, so it's fine either way.
I think one of the biggest reasons, honestly, for having the Blink is just against the Centaur ulti. Like, being able to stop the Centaur ulti in its tracks is really strong. But they're going to go on Vaalix here. Here comes the Ravage. Hits on 2, actually 3. Called on to follow it up. Vaalix has no chance of living here. Just drops to Pycat's sheer damage output.
Yeah, plenty of damage. Meanwhile, we also have Storm pushing mid as they get a pick off bottom, so trying to get some damage onto the tower. He's actually going to go and check a rune instead. But as long as they don't get completely overrun, it looks like 4ASC are going to be fairly fine, but Medusa's farm is so low, 29. Don't know if it's fine, man.
Still half the CS of their respective lane opponents. I mean, Trixi has 29 creeps and Singh has 70.
Yeah.
I mean, sure, Trixi has moved around, but so did Singh. And he even used a Ravage in top lane that didn't really result in anything happening good for him, so.
Centaur could have a very hard time having the same impact as a Tidehunter in this game. Even stealing some farm from the enemy jungle.
He's been using a ton of Stampede to save the bottom lane. That's the thing that he's done for the team, but need to do a little bit more. Need to initiate for the team. A little bit of nice dewarding coming out from Jerax.
Still a 1 minute remaining D-ward, so it's not a very high value one. Team Tinker are soon gonna have new wards up anyway. But they do have some nice wards of their own right now, knowing that the aggression is around bottom lane. I like the one that they placed just to check any rotation.
I do want to say that 4ASC gets into this particular position quite often. Like, they lose their laning stage, gets outplayed, and then Trixi comes back with a Blink Dagger and rescued him. But this game, he's very slow to the Blink, like we talked about many times, but it is no less important that we keep mentioning it and keep checking when the Blink timing comes up, because Trixi needs to get the Blink quick and play hard for the team.
They also have a mech coming up on Viper, and he has it in just one more last hit, and that's a very strong point as well, as Tide did not go for a mech of their own. Team Tinker don't have a mech, and you do. In that case, you can kind of 5-on-5 fight and take a favorable fight.
Yep.
But Team Tinker just farming up Ancients right now, trying to complete up an Orchid as well on Storm Spirit, taking it a little bit slower, not going full YOLO on the enemy offlane.
Do you think this is actually a good play in terms of, you've done a ton of early game pressure, and now you're relieving that pressure? Dusa getting free farm, Trixi getting some recovery farm.
Well, cooldown on Tide Ravage was up for quite a long time there. It is gonna cool off right now, but I think it's perfectly fine to just take it easy while the Ravage is down.
Yeah, you can't just overstep your bounds just because you see a Medusa farming a couple of creep waves, right? You can't just, because giving away kills is actually more impactful for Team Tinker, I think, than it is for 4ESC, because 4ESC are relying on a late game Medusa and still having Centaur, right? So it's still a really strong combination. Yep. Whereas Team Tinker, I don't really think, they still scale pretty well, but I don't think they want to like risk it.
And they are using this time to not only farm for the core items, but giving Treant level 6, giving Witch Doctor level 6. So their next fight, it's going to get much, much stronger. Meanwhile, though, Jerax did pick up his own level 6 as well.
Yeah, all of Team Tinker are so efficient right now. They're just farming everywhere, stacking camps everywhere, doing as much as they can. Even their Treant hitting creeps on top lane, trying to be relevant. Because you really want to hit that level 7 as soon as possible. There's a big difference having 14-second cooldown and 20. and blocking even more damage.
You see Jerax coming into the lane. Is that the pick you want? If you get Jerax...
I think anyone.
I mean, better Jerax than the Medusa, right, for ASC.
Oh, he's walked really far forward here. I think he's dead.
He's definitely dead.
Oh, damn
he
it.
walks
Okay,
into
there we
remnant
go.
range. All
He's
right.
trying to TP out, but... All right, there you go.
That's one of those moments where you go, how the heck did they have vision? And then you watch the replay and you're like, really? There was a remnant there?
Yeah. Well, they do get the pick off as well with their Centaur on top lane. So they kill off Treant, and they do have Blink Dagger completed now for themselves. But yeah, dropping remnants when you're playing Storm and ganking is so important. Just having that vision up in any juke spot. This is though a completed Orchid at 16 minutes for Storm, as he's just 15 gold away.
That's absolutely insane. If you could counter initiate against a Centaur with Orchid, you could entirely turn around the gank, maybe even get up objective out of that one. Speaking of that Centaur, he's waiting on the mid lane. It's like, this is a juicy tier 1 defend. Boba, he knows better. He's going to hide in the trees. Hopefully he does not overstep that boundary, or else he's dead.
Yeah, he's pretty fine right now, playing far away. Seems to know that it's not completely safe defending this alone as a support. And his team is coming in. This could be a big engagement
There's a Blink
here.
Ravage. This can get very dangerous for 4AFC.
Yeah. But it seems they're really, really slow sieging it, and maybe just Treant Armor is going to keep this one alive, to be honest, because you group up, you try and poke away, but Living Armor is a thing, as you would say.
4AFC definitely was looking for a kill, not a gank, but looks like there's going to be that Orchid timing against Trixi. He's taking way too much damage. A Sober and Shit finishing him off. Nice little ball, right click.
Yeah, tons of damage from that Storm. Very big pick, and 28 seconds death time is also pretty long, so maybe they can get a top tower straight with this. Don't care about the creep, just go straight in. Force a glyph. And as long as they can get this top tower, they can go back to defending, because mid tower is easy for them to heal up at any point with living armor.
Yeah, and Sing's actually going to have his mech in, what, 80 gold?
Yeah,
somewhere
really
around
close
there. And he's like, please, somebody let me get ACS so I can finish my mech.
So if Tinker would just go like full kind of full force, like just push, what can 4ASC do right now? They can't split push as efficiently.
I mean, I don't think you can go high ground, but you can definitely
you take
kill
all the
some
outer tower, you take Roche, right?
Yeah.
I even think taking tier 2 is still quite hard for Tinker right now.
Really? With Blink Ravage?
You're fighting into... The thing is, the Ravage has to be timed really well, in my opinion. It's not just about how many heroes it hits, it's about when it hits. Like, if you're playing against teams that don't have Centaur, it's just about, okay, can I hit 2 or 3 people, and that's good enough. Sometimes even 1, if it's that high of a priority. But if you disengage with Centaur ulti, like after the Ravage comes off, you're going to have to expend a lot to be able to get even 1 or 2 kills, right?
That's definitely true. I would also add Stone Gaze into that equation. If Stone Gaze comes as your Ravage also fires off, suddenly following up on the Ravage becomes much more difficult as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of things really that 4ESC have that makes Ravage when you use it.
But Team Tinker also have a lot to work with right now. They even have a jam on Treant walking around and gonna make sure that there's no vision up, which makes me think Roshan, like when can they possibly find a window for that as well? But I do think they need to remove at least a tier 1 mid and maybe even 1 tier 2 tower before committing into that. Because that's one pretty dangerous way to, or a pretty sure way to throw away the game against the Centaur.
No, there's no doubt that 4SC is quite behind, but there is a smoke up. MATUMBAMAN forced to use his ultimate.
I mean, that should be a tier 1, I think, honestly, just forcing that skill.
Yeah, I think so. I don't think they can fight, especially as all the mana is completely gone on Medusa. She does get mana boots. Oh, that's even better than getting in the tower.
Like 800 gold swinging into the enemy side. There's an Invis Treant walking in, and they have no detection for him. This could turn ugly very fast. I mean, Buugi thinks he's initiating, but suddenly it's going to be a Treant Overgrowth.
They
got the sentry. They're going to try to burst him down. There is an Orchid trying to bring him out. Overgrowth's going to get used. Treant's going to be fine, and that Death Ward, oh my god, the Rav's going to hit out everybody. Be followed by a call down. Everybody on 4SC side should be dead, regardless of the fact that there's a mech being activated. MATUMBAMAN, no Stone Gaze. He's trying to burst Storm down, but he's going to go down as well. That's a 4-man wipe.
Wow.
It looked pretty good initiating on the Treant, but again, when the Death Ward came out, there was no answer.
Yeah, I mean, when you get 4 for 0 rolled, despite stealing Ravage and hitting it on plenty of enemy heroes, you know that that fight was not a fight you're going to win.
I'm actually surprised he got Ravage, because he got hit by the Ravage, which means that Sing didn't use another spell.
I think that was a mistake by
No, like you can steal it as soon as the Ravages are coming out. Like
Oh,
if you
yeah,
time
that's
it.
fine.
Did he actually steal it that fast?
Yeah, I believe he did.
Okay, well then,
Jerax,
he's-
what a player.
Jesus. All right, so, I mean, it's nice that he has it for the next team fight, I guess.
Yeah, he was the one to not die in his team, so
Only for a short while though, because the level 1 spell steal is not much longer than the cooldown Ravage. So when
Yeah,
it cools
it's 30
down,
seconds difference.
Yeah.
he'll just run out of it very quickly.
he will have 25-second window where he could possibly hit someone with it. Storm Spirit does get a solo kill, or actually a dual kill, as EGM was part of it as well.
Yep.
On MATUMBAMAN. Big pick off.
That's the difference in warding and vision. I like the fact that 4AC is trying to do a smoke gang because these big ultimates are down and they're going to find themselves Poifa, but BKB is going to come through. I mean Pycat, sorry. And looks like Trixi's going to die as a result. Here comes a Stampede disengage, but it's going to bounce off to the neutrals and back to him.
my
The rocket's going to come through. Just let him go. He's going to die. The multicast, actually he blinks back out. He's going to take a rocket to the face. The calldown's going to hit onto 2. Any big steal from Jerax? Nothing just yet. He's
Storm is coming in as well.
Oh, that's a bad sign. Storm comes in, he gets 1. He sees everybody, but he is getting chased on. Can he kill Koifa? He jumps away, gets 1 kill. Looking for the second. Jerax is very low. No more Ravage as he dies here. And looks like Vaalix is going to go down.
Yeah,
His mech not going to be enough to save him.
meanwhile, EGM just casually walking around like, where are your wards, yo? I want your wards. Still though, amazing punishment from Team Tinker. It was kind of deep to try and go on Gyrocopter there, behind the tier 1 tower, but also pretty lucky cask.
I mean, counting on Pycat missing the BKB, if he did miss it, they'll get the kill. And maybe only lost 1 on the way out, but Pycat, I guess, also very good. Pressing that 1 button, man.
Yes, very quick. They do have one nice observer ward in the enemy jungle here, but EGM is close by, and with the enemy having recently smoke ganked them this deep, I think he's going to take a stroll and find this ward as well, leaving 4ASC completely in the dark if he gets it. Yeah, he does find it, so no vision right now for ASC, and I don't even think they have wards ready. No, they're restocking right now. That's tough.
I think not having vision on the map is something that you see a lot in pub games, but don't really understand how important it is. You just can't farm.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter how good decision making you have if you don't have the intel.
Exactly. Like at this point, Dusa can't even move past where she is right now. Like she just have to back off.
Yeah.
So when you're trying to play for this late game and you can't actually have any goal intake, you just can't play for the late game. So I think 4AC is like in a rut. They have to somehow dig themselves out of this hole, and I really don't know how they're going to do it.
Yes.
I mean, they're still farming pretty well. If you consider the way the laning phase went, even though Team Tinker have transitioned into just like static farming into trying to fight and getting a lot of kills out of it and getting a handful of towers, it's like Vaalix and MATUMBAMAN still have a lot higher relative CS than they did before. So with that being said, I don't think it's like, it's not absolutely terrible. The only problem that they're having is that the Storm can kind of solo kill a lot of the heroes in their team right now. So they have to play a little bit more together, which I think is the biggest weakness of giving a Storm a decent early game.
Yeah, that is one of the bigger problems, but also the fact that even a Treant is just 2k behind your Medusa. I mean, this is the hero you rely on to kill everyone, and she's barely ahead of the enemy support right now. So definitely Team Tinker in a dominating display right here. They're over 15,000 gold ahead. And 4SE kind of have to pull a miracle to make this one turn, I feel.
Yeah, and the worst will get even worse because Storm is going to finish his Lincoln Sphere soon. And I mean, technically you could kill him because you could drop like Lift, you could drop a multicast, and then you could Vibra Strike and hoof something. Yeah, like in a world that can be done. But in a normal team fight, Koifa should be immortal. He will just zip around. There's nothing you can do about it until he's completely out of mana.
Yeah. Well, Storm is going to be a tough target to kill, and downstairs could potentially kill him, but the amount of resources you will have to commit to do so.
I get him death ward for
Oh, that's early. He's also 11 only, so he has that 4 bounce forward. This is like crazy fast timing.
And against this particular team, one or defend, they're close. So the bounce is going to be pretty rare.
Can't believe he got it 25 minutes. Like, normally you get very low gold. I guess being 1-1 and 8 is pretty fine as well. gonna give you quite a lot of gold.
Well, Roshan here being taken by Team Tinker, and even if 4ASC knew about this, I don't know if they would be that thrilled to contest it. I think they give it to Quakefoot, right? Yeah, okay. There we go. He's got his Lincolns, he's got his Aegis at the same timing, so now you're going to have to use a spell on him before you can even use a Lift, or you can even use a Fire Blast to stop him. You still have Centaur, but I think Team Tinker are just going to take this opportunity to go a little ham.
Oh, this could be over very quickly. Here comes the initiation. They drop the ward just for a little bit of vision. You go on Vaalix if you want. You can go on MATUMBAMAN if you want. They know Centaur's looming behind, so.
I think honestly you want to go on Jerax or something. You want to kill the Rubik, I think, straight away.
Yeah, squishy targets as possible is fine, or if you can just force a reaction and disengage as well, that's perfectly fine as well, but Team Tinker want to be careful not to dive too deep against the Centaur under a tower. To be honest, I'm not even sure if they want to push here.
Definitely game very slow. Close here for Team Tinker. They're commanding lead. Trixi, he's been pushing the top a little bit. As he sees people going off, he's going to back in the jungle.
Yeah, so much farm to just go on Soulstorm. Happily got the top farm.
Normally though, when you make a play like what Trixi just, you get a little chip on the tower, eventually it's T1, get a little bit of go. You pressure the enemy a little more, but Trin says no to all of that. So that's another reason why against Tree when you're this far behind is really difficult.
You know, I think Kree probably the smartest pick against 4SC I've seen so far. Because this team never picks any push. Like, okay, Viper is the one pushing hero they ever pick.
Right.
But not a hero that runs over tower immediately. It's kind of sieging tower slowly.
Sure.
By hitting it and enemy will give up. But all the chip damage they have dealt to tower, this game gated just by the fact that Little
So, 4S just push after killing everybody, and having Trine helps you surviving and winning those fights. So, Trine may be top tier bet against 4ASC. Or,
oh, 4.
4 ASC, yeah.
4 for ASC.
I don't know, I think if you are forced to ban a Tree, like, I don't know if Tree is first 2 ban worthy.
Well,
maybe not the first 2 ban, but you know, when you're playing aggressive hero, which they kind of are in this game. I mean, they have a Dusa, they have a Viper.
I just feel it functions exactly as intended against the Finnish team, because this is their one weakness. They have a hard time taking towers. If there's a treant, you will never take a tower, which is what happened this game. 28 minutes in, no tower damage on any lane right now.
They picked the Rubik before the Tree, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so with that being said, I think the Tree was only really meant to be a hero that has some flexibility with Witch Doctor and synergizes as well. And then they just saw the Rubik and thought, why don't we just go aggressive here? Koifa going in, yep, silence is there. The Stone Gaze is also being used. Jerax is going to die to call down. It just doesn't really have the means to live through that, and they're also going to get that Sentry Ward as well.
Are they going to try
going
to
on the
defend
tier 2, Sting goes forward, 4 stats as well. The Centaur ulti is popping, the Ravage is going to totally cancel it out. The movement speed not really doing much. Oh my god, that Death Ward doing so much damage to Vaalix. They're going to get another pull from Koifa. He's going to be dropping as well. 4 heroes down on the side of 4ASC. Koifa getting 3 of those kills.
Yeah,
and I don't know what you can do anymore, honestly, as 4ASC.
I mean, that's Rax, right? I mean, sure, there are heroes that's responding very soon.
Maybe not Rax, but...
They still have Aegis. It could definitely be Rax.
Tinker is just going for it. Show me that this is not Rax.
Yeah, they have the YOLO push as well. Plenty of damage. Of course, they could back out and just be happy with it, but with all the heal that they have...
Okay, they're actually super strong.
Yeah, there's no reason 1 HP on this tower.
Yep, Storm casually jumping in. There's a cooldown on cooldown already again. That's yet another kill. This train of death is coming in, and Dusa's just like plinking away, guys, look at me.
Yeah, well...
Don't hit my Rax.
Not actually relevant. Poor Snake, he has, you know, not the best impact in this game.
I mean, we often talk about these types of lineups that are meant to high ground by 30 minutes. Team Tinker, oh man.
EGM 4-staffing MATUMBAMAN in and then ulting 2 targets. What a player, EGM.
Oh, Trixi gets off a big stun, but there's actually no follow-up. Trixi trying to walk himself out of there. Storm jumps in, gets a casual pull.
God.
That's going to be yet another kill. Vaalix is like, hey guys, I also hit for nothing. And that's going to prompt a GG call. You know, we are a little behind schedule.
Yeah,
and with this quick game,
a lot behind schedule.
Yeah, we are now somewhat behind schedule.
A little bit less behind schedule.
A little bit less.
Yeah.
Thanks to Team Tinker.
Well, I gotta say, I was talking about all these lineups that have like high ground potential at X minute, like 25, 30 minutes. Very seldom do we see it executed as flawlessly as I think Team Tinker did that game.
Yeah.
It seemed they had an answer for everything that 4ESC